Hey everybody, what's going on? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Liberation. This equates to the Judgment card in this deck. I'm also seeing 10 of Pentacles and 3 of Wands. Okay, so we can see liberation as being freed of something only after cracking it open. Liberation is feeling to me like something's not so much a mystery anymore. Like something has emerged out of a process for you. Cracking the code on what feels important to you. So, having 10 of Pentacles, I'm going to take this to mean what you would need in order to feel safe, in order to feel secure. This feels like something has been figured out that's associated with that. Like you can even feel you've been making progress. We have the 3 of Wands here. I kind of get this notion of seeing the future in something. And I wonder too if this is a new development within your perspective. You see a future in this. And it does feel like a newfound perspective. Because before, with liberation, I feel like something, like you didn't crack the code on it yet, but now that you have and you're like, now I can see what's inside of here. It feels like, well, I see a future with this, that's been the answer that you found. And I wondered too, like maybe you were hoping for this, or maybe you were just like, well, let me see what's here. Like, let me not have an expectation or whatever. But this definitely feels like a wanted sort of outcome here. That this really can work, that this can really be what you need, and that this can be lasting, and that it can go far too. I'm seeing Page of Swords and I'm seeing Ace of Wands, and this feels kind of like looking into and through a window. I feel like being open brings opportunity as well. We have 3 of Swords and we also have Queen of Wands. I feel like you had to look at something that may have been difficult to look at, but I don't see you being held back by this anymore. This feels like something that needed to be resolved in order to move forward, and that's exactly what's been done here. This could have been something that was maybe holding you back before, just something that needed to be sort of like more so addressed, figured out. Now at this point, I feel like you've emerged from it. This can also be something too where there was some hard stuff that you went through, but now it doesn't feel like you're chained to that anymore. meaning you're not defined by that. This feels like something that you have like actually moved through now, like you're emerging out of this. Whereas before you could have felt like moving through something up until that point of emerging could have felt difficult because of what that entailed and how that impacted you, how you felt impacted by that. Now it feels like you're sort of out of that, because I'm kind of even seeing this be like certain cycles that you had been in before that had to be worked out, that had to be addressed. Like you had no other choice. They were just the situations that you were in. And now with this liberation, it feels like coming out of that. Like you're not stuck within that anymore. And that you really can see a future now. Or maybe you couldn't see that before. Maybe like you couldn't see that far before. And I feel too like whatever hangups you had before, they're not really there anymore because this has been worked through. Like they're not something that's going to be holding you back anymore anyway. Doesn't mean you forget, it's just more so like life goes on and things continue. So having this 10 of Pentacles above Queen of Wands, I see you looking set here. And it feels too like there being a sense of confidence moving forward as well. Like you have now freed yourself. Like there's no more entrapment anymore. Some of you, this can be financial stuff, can be family stuff. Can be things having to do with resources as well. Sense of belonging. Seeing something too about a hierarchy of sorts. Like that something is okay now. Something has stabilized now. When I see Three of Swords, Queen of Wands, Three of Pentacles, I think about working with the parts of yourself that you may have difficulty expressing, where you may feel it's hard for you to be yourself, where it was difficult for you to connect with your authenticity, with your self-expression, with your vulnerability that is connected with that honest self-expression, your creativity, your passion, your drive. What you feel drawn to, what you feel attracted to, what you feel connected with. I'm also hearing self-management as well. So, Three of Swords and Queen of Wands is when we're going through a cycle that is connected with Three of Swords and Queen of Wands. It's like moving through whatever isn't allowing us to be ourselves, and whatever problems that we may have with ourselves, with our self-esteem, with our self-image, stuff that would have us not like shining in a way that is true to us. And Three of Pentacles feels like working with this energy, like this is actively being worked with. Anything where you feel like not good enough, or I have to perform, or something like that, where there isn't just that feeling of intrinsic self-worth. Even too when it comes to whatever it is that you do, or like how you live your life. Because this can be stuff that has to do with your relationships. It can be stuff that has to do with like how you're being received too. I do also see Queen of Wands as being connected with self-image as well. Because I see Queen of Wands as being very connected with sacral energy Other energies too, but especially that. So it can be too about like what we are deserving of, what we feel deserving of or don't feel deserving of. And that being something as well. I feel like with your relationship with yourself, you've like made it very, very far. There's a lot of ground that you have covered and a lot of stuff that you have worked through. And this can be too like things that you've seen as being like psychological work to move through. Places where you could have felt like wounding had occurred and then it was sort of on you to do that homework. To figure things out when it comes to the hand that you were dealt. Peace of mind, Page of Swords, Four of Swords. I feel even like a recovery. Feels like something's been accomplished. Now there's more of a sitting back a bit. Things just feel mentally stable. And I feel too like there's a looking out over and into things, because with Page of Swords, we're still going to be curious about stuff. There are things that we're interested in. There are things that we want to know, but having it be connected with Four of Swords, I feel like there's a calmness within you when you do this, or there's a centeredness within you, or there's a tranquility within you when you're doing this. This doesn't feel like a panic to like turn things over and to uncover stuff. This feels more so like a pure, like feeling centered, feeling connected, and really knowing what you feel drawn to and what you want to look into and what you're curious about, but from a place that feels calm rather than feeling really frazzled and all over the place. Because Page of Swords can be an energy where it's like, give me more information and more information and more, and let me talk about this and let me get into that. This feels like those things have been dropped. They've just like fallen off now because of where you've gotten with things. I think like on your journey with where you have advanced to, it feels like you're not trying to compensate anymore for like some type of perceived lack. That something really does feel like you have emerged from it and that it has been closed now. It's not really open-ended in that way anymore. I feel too like this can be pointing out opportunities that maybe in the past you would have shied away from. That now really can be opening up for you because you feel like the steps that you take, they matter, they count. And so you can feel like you're free to make those moves that you want to make now, and that this really does, you're on the path that you want to be on. Doing what you want to be doing, working on what you want to be working on. Maybe too, before you felt like you were taking steps that were like more so about resolving what you could have seen was broken before. I feel like more on like a personal level more than anything. And now there's like a bit of a different shift that you're in. Like it's, the journey has become about something else now. And not because you're just like switching from one thing to the next. It feels like some level has been completed, and so now you're moving to the next level, and it's kind of about something else. Even though it's like the journey continues, it feels like, well, I've come out of this now, so now there's something else that's happening. And then you're going to emerge from that thing too. And then you're going to emerge from that thing too. It just feels like kind of that fractal unfolding of things. And I do see, like, we have 10 of Pentacles, we have 4 of Swords. I feel you, this like feeling of being settled, like things are all right, like you don't need to be worrying. but not from a place of just like sitting around doing nothing. Like there's still stuff that's going on. It just feels like there's not anxiety being used as a motivator here. It feels like there's a centeredness and there's a purity within your connection with self that is the motivator here. And that in working with these energies, this is what it has afforded you now at this point. And I feel with like a steadiness that sort of portals open that you can walk through, and you feel like your mind is centered, or like your energy is centered when you're doing this. Like there's just a stillness, there's a centeredness that I'm seeing here, where there's like not that panic and not that anxiety when you're moving in the direction of things. Just feels like a solidness within your energy that you're in. And that's how you're moving forward, because that's where you've gotten to. It's like this stuff isn't really there anymore because you've dealt with it. So now there's balance. I feel too like this wasn't easy stuff to work with, and that you did anyway. And that you were open to learning and open to understanding. And that was a big piece of this as well. I think too, from a place of maybe wanting to get better or wanting to feel better than you were feeling. And not that you've run out of things to learn. It's like there's still more stuff that you're going to be learning about yourself. There's still more things that you're going to be interested in. It's just feels like one of those times where it's a recognition of like all of the ground that you've covered, really how far you've come, especially with yourself, given situations that you've been in. And what it's sort of freed up within you to be able to do now, because you don't have those assignments anymore because you've completed them. And so the journey continues, and it's kind of about something else now, a little bit. All right, everybody, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.